This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Let's start with NFL.
Okay.
There's a few different ways we could go. I mean, I don't know if you just want to touch on some different games from the weekend or whatever, what have you. But I just want to say, like, it's Christmas Eve right now. In an hour, it'll technically be Christmas Eve, Eastern time.
Yeah.
Then we got Christmas Day, and normally, like, for as long as I can remember, like, that would be the day, just like Thanksgiving, where you look forward to football on Thanksgiving. You look forward to the marquee matchups. You have 5 matchups of basketball. I haven't even thought about it. I haven't even thought about basketball because there's 2 marquee NFL games on Netflix on Christmas Day, which I hate, by the way. When they first started doing this, which I get, it kind of coincided with like weekend games, like maybe a Friday or a Saturday. So you could excuse it. You could excuse having the NFL on, especially since, like, if Christmas Eve or if Christmas Day, was on a Sunday, they'd move all the games to Saturday. So if you had 1 or 2 or a Sunday night game on Christmas, cool. But now the fact, I think last year they put it on a Tuesday, right? This year, obviously, on a Wednesday. It feels out of whack. Like, you don't want that sort of scheduling, right? I mean, these 4 teams in particular that are playing, Steelers, Texans, Chiefs, and Ravens, they each got 3 games in 10 days. And guess what we got right after that 3-game stretch? The postseason. You can't tell me that's not going to have some sort of ramifications on these teams, right? 4 teams, by the way, you want to see in the playoffs one way or another. All in the AFC, by the way. Chiefs, it might not matter.
All teams are going to be in the playoffs. Like, there's there's no world where none of them are in the play. All of them are making the playoffs. So, like, we're going to see these teams. 3 of them, maybe 4, unless the Chiefs fall. But 3 of them we're going to see wild card weekend. So
exactly.
Like, they're going to really have this week. So
unless the Chiefs lose to the Steelers on Wednesday and then lose to the Broncos, they're likely going to get a bye. So this 3 and 10 day stretch really won't matter to them unless, Mahomes gets injured or Kelsey were to get injured. Let's say he suffered a major injury, which can happen, obviously, anyway, right? Playing football, but especially in this 3 games in 10 day stretch, I worry about that. But if let's say all teams make it through healthy, you can't tell me. And let's say the Chiefs do just hold serve and grab the 1 seed, they get a bye. You can't tell me the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Texans aren't all going to be affected by that. And maybe they won't. Maybe it's no different than if that happened during the season. I don't know if that ever really does happen with a Thursday night schedule, but that worries me. As excited as I am for these games, that 3 games in 10 day stretch or 11 day stretch, whatever the hell it is, worries me.
Yeah, no, and it should because it's not anything that's needed. Like, as you were saying, growing up, it was Thursday, it was Thanksgiving. The NBA does not touch Thanksgiving. They know they wouldn't compete with it now at this point anyway. Wouldn't make any.
And they used to have games on. Like, you used to be able to watch a Thursday night basketball game on TNT, and it would still be cool. But like now they've pulled back, which is just as cool.
Fair. So Thursday, Thanksgiving, and it was Christmas basketball, and I kind of wish it was still that way. Like, you take Thanksgiving, as we were talking about, make the Raiders the Black Friday team, but I'm cool with you guys having Black Friday too. Like, it's kind of cool to have the back-to-back. Fine with that. I also I understand, like, I don't mind the Saturday games. I don't love it. I did not love it this Saturday. This is the first college football playoff weekend. We knew it was going to be that, and it feels like that, like this day and then New Year's Day feels like 2 college football days. Like, New Year's Day, you always knew, like, okay, college football is on. And then this last Saturday, and I didn't like the fact that obviously there's 2 good games on, but at the same time you had Penn State, SMU. Thank God for the college-wise, it was like everything was pretty much blowouts, so like you didn't have to be invested in it. Clemson made it a little bit of a game with Texas, but like you had your college football playoffs, and then you had the NFL going on, and it was like, man. And I get it because it's the NFL, and you're always going to want to gravitate towards it. And don't worry, I love the NFL. I love watching it. Christmas Day, especially if it was on New Year's Day now, like if they started going with New Year's Day games, I would be very upset. Like, those are specific for other sports, and I kind of want to just keep it to those other sports in my personal feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the NFL on Saturdays because that's normally their thing. Second or third Saturday of December, they start rolling them out, and you kind of have to because of how everyone's bye is done. So you're trying to fit these games in. So
Yeah, I
I
would have
don't
been
mind.
fine starting it this week. I guess it was just with me, just because I didn't like that Saturday felt like just a college football day, and I wanted to just be that. But again, it was not like it was a huge deal, but like that's
Well,
just more personal thing.
that's kind of thing is college football kind of infiltrated it because normally it would be bowl season anyway. So normally you're having your probably lower rate bowl games at this point. I don't really know. I don't follow it anymore. But the fact that they now have 12-team playoff, now they're starting their playoffs now. So they kind of infiltrated the NFL's Saturday schedule, I guess you could say, because the NFL holds off from Saturday games because of college football.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's all weird. The NFL is as greedy as they come. I love the league. I love the league like my own son. I do not have a son, but I love the league like my own kid. But man, are they greedy? Like we're gonna all be paying for Peacock once again just for a playoff game. People are gonna be subscribing to Netflix, Amazon Prime. You know what I mean?
Netflix. Like there's so much. There's so many just platforms that you need to have. I mean, I have all of them. I'm not missing a game because of a platform. So I'm like, I'm gonna have all of them. So I'm one of the people that these other network, obviously Peacock or whatever, benefit from because they're gonna get my subscription money from it. But I'm going to. But at the same time, it's like
it's incredibly greedy. It's
so
a free league. It's not prize fighting. It's not boxing or UFC who've had the pay-per-view model for forever. So it's incredibly greedy. But hey, we're all gonna pay for it. Or
they can do it.
If you're in the
same way Nike
crack streams gang,
sorry, it's the same way Nike with socks. It's because in the retail world, I've worked in retail for a while. I've seen 6-pack of Nike socks go from about $18 to $28, and Nike can do it because they know people are still going to buy the socks. Obviously, the world's kind of gone more expensive. Whatever, doesn't make a difference. But I remember when people would come into like $18 for a pack of socks. That's so expensive. And now if they see $18 for a 6-pack of socks, they're like, oh, that's actually a really good deal now, because obviously Nike's now up. They changed from 18 to 22, 22 to 28. So it's like, but in the same way, the NFL, you're always going to, whatever subscription is, you're going to get it because you're going to watch it. Nike socks, because they're just such a premium. It's like, yeah, I'm going to, whatever. I guess I'm paying more money for them, but I'm going to get them anyway. Like, I'm just going to get them anyway.
I do feel like there's a point where we're eventually going to get an 18-game season. And I feel like there's eventually going to be a point where it's going to be too much NFL to some point, to some degree. I'm not sure what that degree is, but I can't imagine they're going to stop at Christmas. We're going to get something else here that they're going to add that's going to be like an annual game. It's going to be ridiculous. I don't know if it's a Tuesday. Like just thinking about a Tuesday game or, like during COVID, when all the games were moved to during the week, it was still weird. Yeah. It was still a disadvantage for these teams who then got to turn around and play on Sunday. Yeah. So I don't know, but the NFL, regardless, they're gonna shit gold. They're gonna shit diamonds. Let's pick these games for Wednesday. Do you want to do Thursday as well, or you just want to do Wednesday?
Yeah, no, let's do Thursday as well.
All right. So what's the 1:00 game on Wednesday?
So the first game we're going to be seeing is going to be Kansas City versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers right now are 2.5-point underdogs.
That is true. That's a true story.
Yeah. My thoughts on this game is it really depends if George Pickens is there. I did not think I'm.
Seems like
I was saying I'm just writing. I'm seeing exactly what the spread is to make sure it's
2.5. It's 2.5.
It is 2.5. Okay, but yeah, I am going with the Chiefs. I know George Pickens really makes a lot of difference for that roster and how they go. He stretches the field. It's kind of the same way A.J. Brown makes a difference for the Philadelphia Eagles. You've seen receivers do make a difference for a lot of quarterbacks, and in this case, he does make a difference. I think if he's there, it'll be an interesting one. But both teams are in a stretch where no team's at an advantage per se, like, oh, this team's played way more games than this team or something like along those lines. But I got the Chiefs in this one. I got it 24-21. They're going to lock up the 1 seed.
I unfortunately, as you know, Keenan, I did not get to watch the Saturday game as much as I would have liked. Um, what I did see, Baltimore was running the ball well. I know Pickens was out, and what I've gathered from the highlights and from the discourse is that it was kind of an average game from the Steelers, from Russ. Um, with that being said, with Pickens, they do gain explosion, right? They should be able to run the ball on the Chiefs. The Chiefs secondary has not been playing as well. And this is what I like to do on these short week type of games, right? Chiefs had a bit of a playoff game against the Texans. Like that felt like a real game, home game for the Chiefs. There was real intensity. We talk all the time about Steelers and Ravens being tough physical games, insane games. But the fact that it was a blowout a little bit must be the Steelers took their foot off the gas just a little bit there. So I'm going to guess that, again, I didn't get to watch the second half of this game, but it would seem like there was a little less physicality on the Steelers' part. So I do like the Steelers in this game. It's in Pittsburgh, correct?
Yes.
I like the Steelers with their full team. Uh, this Chiefs team has not scored 31 points. I know this stat's being talked about to death that they haven't scored 31. But the thing that is key about that, the other three teams that have not scored 31, Keenan, one of them is the Patriots, and the other two are garbage teams. I think it's like the Raiders and I don't know, maybe the Giants. It's teams like that though, and the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs have one loss somehow. Steelers got to make it interesting for us. I am so sick of this team, Keenan. I'm so sick of the Chiefs. I'm not even like, oh, Kyle, that's rich. You're a Patriots fan. I promise you, Keenan, out of all those teams, Brady and Belichick teams, none of them were this boring. I promise you that. Maybe that 2019 team or 2018 team, the last team to win the Super Bowl against the Rams, maybe. But even then, they could put up points on you. Even then, it wasn't 4-yard carries and play actions, and they are winning super ugly. I've never seen a one-loss team this ugly. And on top of that, Keenan, they really do get superstar NBA type calls. I've never seen a team in my life get the calls the Chiefs do. They had 3 critical ones. And I mean, I sent them in the group chat. I mean, you know, namely that fumble that was ruled roughing the passer. I don't get how if someone hits your elbow, right, that automatically makes it a fumble. If he hits your elbow before it's going forward, okay, that's a fumble. Then you're not a passer if it's a fumble, right? You were liable to get hit. They call that an incomplete pass and a fumble. That was disgusting. They called an offensive pass interference before on Tank Dell before he got injured that he didn't even do anything. There was no question that it was not offensive pass interference. They called offensive pass interference on it. I've never seen the Chiefs get calls like this. The Steelers not only have to win, but they will win. This is right there for them. There's no way the Chiefs are going to make it out of here with one win or one loss. There's no way they're getting through the season with one loss. If the Chiefs make it out of this season with only one loss, Keenan, I will forcibly make myself throw up on this podcast here. I will throw up on the screen. We'll lose viewers. And you and Tim won't be too happy. But I will make myself throw up on this podcast if the Chiefs end 16-1 on a team that really should be like 11-6. I mean, come on. I'll be nice. I'll say 13-4. They should not be a one-loss team. Give me the Steelers 27-21. Please, just please give us some sort of suspense going into that last week against the Broncos.
I don't mind being wrong here. Here's what I hope. Like, I genuinely hope for this, and it's because of my Bengals fandom. I hope that the Bengals make the playoffs, go to Josh Allen and beat him, and then go to KC and beat them.
Bengals ain't making it. They have no tiebreakers. That's their problem. Is the Colts have? They're
gonna have. They need to win out. And then they need to win out, of course, and then they need in week 18, they need the Broncos to lose, they need the Colts to lose, and they need the Dolphins to lose. And this was the week for it. Like it almost went their way this week because the Titans looked early like they were going to lose or they could win, and then obviously they came back close at the end. The divisional one would have been the week for it, and then the Dolphins obviously playing a still pretty decent 49ers team would have been the week for it too. So yeah, no, they're in a situation where it's tough, but I want them in.
At least give me the Dolphins in. I don't want to see the the Broncos.
Oh, don't as long as it's not the Colts. As long as it's not the Colts, I don't want the Colts.
Here's the thing. I would take the Colts if it wasn't at the Bills. I already know how it's going to go with Anthony Richardson in the snow in Buffalo. I already know how that's going to go.
That's the thing. Like the Bills are pretty much like married to the 2 seed right now, so it's like
unless the Chiefs lose this week,
unless the Chiefs lose both games, like they have to lose both games for this.
We at least got to get this. The Steelers got to do us a favor and at least give us some suspense here, so everybody has something to play for.
And that's what I hope for too, because then I just want it to be because. Would you rather have Tua go in the cold up to Buffalo?
Yes.
Would you rather have Anthony Richardson go up to the cold to Buffalo?
Don't give me Bo Nix. Which, by the way, the Broncos are good. The Broncos are good when everything's going right for them.
That's why I want Burrow.
It's not going to happen.
Burrow going to Buffalo. I know.
It's not going to happen. They shouldn't have lost.
Into existence.
They shouldn't have lost to the Patriots. They shouldn't have lost to. They lost to a couple
Patriots, one of the Ravens or the Chargers ones. All they need is one of those wins.
There was another team, though, they lost to that they should not have lost to. Like, somewhere in the middle of the season, there was a team where it's like, come on, you got to beat them. But yes, one of those Ravens games should have flipped because they were both the exact same game. But they've lost to a couple.
It was, what we thought, okay, it was the Commanders early, but then we didn't realize the Commanders were what the Commanders are now.
There was one.
That was their other loss.
There was a couple in week 8 because they've lost. They lost a lot of home games early.
They lost to the Patriots, then they lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the Commanders. Okay. Then they beat the Panthers, they lost to the Ravens, they beat the Giants, beat the Browns, lost to the Eagles, beat the Raiders, lost to the Ravens, lost to the Chargers, lost to the Steelers, sorry. Beat the Cowboys, beat the Titans, it's really the Patriots loss is the only loss to an actual team.
Here's the thing, though. All their wins were against nobody teams, and they really should have lost that Dallas game.
There was more like that. Obviously, it came down to the 2-point conversion, and then it had obviously the missed field goal and then the made field goal for the. But all they needed is that one game. The rest of the season could have went the same way. If they beat the Patriots week 1, they're in a position now where they just win out and they're in. And so it's crazy.
Patriots are awful. Bengals are fugazi. They are fugazi. They should be back next year, though. They got to get Big Lou out of there. That defense is soft, charming soft.
No, they're not great, and
they got a 5% chance. We've seen weirder things, but my consolation is all right. If it's not going to be Bo Nix, at least give me the Dolphins and Tua, and at least it's a divisional matchup. I can count on something there. I know they're going to lose, but Bo Nix.
I just want the Bengals.
If the Bills get up 10-0 on the Broncos, it's over. He can't get you back in the game. The Colts at least will get like a shit show. At least that would be random. And by the way, they got to be kicking themselves over anybody because if Jonathan Taylor just, doesn't drop the ball at the 1-yard line, they're probably in pole position here, especially with that game being against the Broncos. Bo Nix would not have climbed them back in this game, but next game. Let's go Ravens, Texans.
Okay. And next we've got Baltimore versus Houston. Houston is 5.5-point underdogs in this game. And I'm going to quickly go here. I think this Houston team, I had more confidence than you and Timmy in this Houston team going on. I didn't have them in like this Super Bowl or anything, but this was a team that I did think their peak was the AFC Championship game. I think a win for their season this year would be a playoff win if they could even get that. Baltimore played one of their best games of the year, complete games. You had a Lamar who played very well. Obviously, he didn't run the greatest because that's what the Steelers were to stop. 3 touchdowns, 207 rating against a team that's given him fits. 207 yards, 115 rating against a team that's given him fits. Derrick Henry, 162 on the ground. The defense making plays. It's the most complete Ravens game you've seen pretty much all year, other than maybe the Bills game early on in the season. Against an actual team, that is. So I like how this Ravens team is looking. I got them 30-23 in the divisional round rematch of last year.
Give me 34-20 Ravens. Ravens are making a run. It's their time of year. They're coming off a late bye. Like you just said, most complete win of the season against a bitter division rival. Not just a division rival, the most bitter rivalry we probably got in the sport. Um, yeah, they got the Texans this week. Who do they end with? They end with the Browns, must be.
Wait, the Ravens?
Yeah, who do they end with after this week?
They end with the Browns because the Bengals play the Steelers.
Low key, Lamar is not out of the MVP conversation. I know people want to say it was wrapped up, but his stats are not only comparable, you could even make the case they're better than Josh Allen's. It's certainly Lamar's
statistically, he's semi blown. It's weird because like Josh Allen has like the wows of 3 touchdowns rushing and he has the rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown game. He has the 3 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns rushing. He has the big 4th down play against the Chiefs. Obviously, the big win against the Lions. Like he's got the wows. But if you're just taking numbers wise, Josh Allen's not even top 2 in just like pure numbers. It goes Burrow. Lamar, Burrow, but like obviously Burrow's not in it. But like Lamar then Burrow, but they're neck and neck for when it comes to like actual statistics. Like Burrow has a couple more passing touchdowns. Lamar has a better rating. Burrow has a little bit more yards. Like those, Burrow's going to have one of the best seasons of all time for a team who didn't even make the playoffs. And then Lamar Jackson's truly having an all-time great. Like if he hadn't won an MVP yet, or maybe he didn't win one last year, I think he would be he might comfortably have it right now. Genuinely.
Hard to say because
in the narrative kind of feel to it. That's for me.
Sure. Hard to say because the Bills also have 3 losses, but I do think, hey, if you let Lamar go out and give you 4 total touchdowns on an island spot like this, Netflix against the Texans, everyone's going to be watching. I think that race is going to be real close depending on how this game goes. Again, if he gives you 4 total touchdowns, I think we're going to be heading into the last week, of course, depending on how Josh Allen plays Sunday. But I think we'll have a real race coming out of this game. That's my hope anyway.
And Saquon's 270 away from breaking the record. If Saquon gets to 2150, I think he's got to at least give him a conversation. Like if it's Heisman Day, he needs to be at least sitting next to the MVP. Like he needs to be at least getting at the trophy ceremony.
I do say I don't want to be a hater, but I'm gonna be a hater. All these 16 game records it'll be cool if Saquon breaks that record in week. What would be 17, right? Which will
this
be
coming week if he was to break it. He would need 270. He would need like an all-time great game.
So let's say he does that. Let's say he does get 270. Then great. I would love to acknowledge a record. But when people are breaking 16 game records in game 17, hard for me to acknowledge. That's all. No hate. It's a cool record. But if you're beating the record in game 17, like, cool. We could have said that about many other players if there was a 17th game. You feel me? So no hate. Just
AP would have ran away. AP missed it. But I mean, and also shout out to Eric Dickerson. I think he did it in 14 games.
That's wild. That's wild. So, I think Jerry Rice's whatever. I think it was a 22 receiving touchdown season. He did that in 12 games.
Or 12 games. Yeah.
Like that's a sicko. That's a sicko right there. Yeah, no, we each got Ravens. I cannot wait for this postseason, Keenan. I mean, we'll be talking about it more, me, you, and Tim. I actually got a tiers list coming up, my final tiers list of the year, of the regular season. Mm-hmm. This NFC playoff picture is going to be, no matter what way it swings, it's going to be the most loaded playoff picture of my memory. And especially since we've expanded to 7 teams. I mean, unreal. By the way.
That's insane. I'm looking at his 22 touchdowns. He didn't go a game without getting a touchdown. That's 1. And 2, he only it was in 12 games, but he only received for 1,000 yards. Like, don't get me wrong, that's still very good, but he only had 4 games over 100. But you would there are certain some games here 7 catches, 3 touchdowns, 7 catches, 3 touchdowns. 4 catches, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns.
He probably would. So imagine if he played 16 games, he definitely has 30 touchdowns.
Oh, easy. He's on
Randy
pace
Moss
for
definitely that record would have never been broken.
No, it would have never been touched.
And by the way, Randy Moss's might never be broken either. So
no, that might not be. I mean, could be, but I mean, you have to be Burrow and Chase or something crazy like that. But do you want to talk about the Thursday game real quick?
Yeah, hold on. I just wanted to get one last little
You're
jab at the NBA because we were talking playoffs. It was also cool. I could save this for April, Keenan, but I'm just gonna do this now. It's because it still just pisses me off, and we've had like 3 or 4 seasons of it. But when Adam Silver said, "You know what we need is 2 more playoff teams, but make it a play-in game, 1 game only. You play 82, but guess what? Those 82 games don't even matter because guess what? If you did enough to be the 7th or 8th seed, you could lose and go home. So we're gonna give 10 teams in each conference the chance. That's what we need. We need fucking 30 teams to have the chance at the NBA playoffs is what Adam Silver thought. You will hear more complaints about that in April, but for right now, we will
another quick little thing that sucks. The in-season tournament stats, the championship game just doesn't exist. That's so insane to me.
Adam Silver also thinks it's a good idea. Sorry, but Adam Silver also thinks it's a good idea to have like the quarterfinal games early on in the week. And then like, all right, yeah, it's Wednesday now. Now you guys got to buy your tickets 3 days before like the semifinals and the finals. Like we just now found out what the teams are. Everyone buy your tickets and try to get out to Vegas. Like that's realistic. But in his defense there, unlike the in-season or unlike the play-in tournament, this is only the second time that we've done the in-season tournament. It's only the second season. They're going to work out the kinks. I would assume they'll separate it from like a week apart. I would assume they'll eventually do that so people can actually, buy their tickets and go to this game, go to this event.
Yeah.
But so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. But the play-in tournament, that is just it's terrible. It's terrible. I've complained about it every year, and I'll never stop complaining.
Yeah,
it's gimmicky.
Absolutely. All right.
It's almost
Seattle is heading.
Can I do just on that? Just no. I got to ask this. I meant to ask this the last couple of weeks, but we actually haven't been able to record. The MLB. This is how bad it is, and this is like I don't want to see the NBA get to this point, but it's almost there with those type of ideas. But the MLB. I hope this does not go through. I don't even watch baseball like that, and I don't want this to go through. The golden at bat. You hear about this?
Yeah.
So you get again, hopefully this doesn't go through, but at any point in the game, you can just choose your best player to be a pinch hitter. It's called a golden at bat. Keen, that'd be the equivalent in the NFL of being like, yeah, I know it's a 27-20 game, but you guys can actually get the ball at the 5-yard line and try to score and tie this game up. Like, what the fuck is that? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I would be sick for MLB fans if that actually goes through.
That would be like
here, take the ball at the 20-yard line with the 2-minute drill, and you can, or like saying like, oh, this next score is worth 14 points, and you can tie the game. Like, what are we doing? That's just gimmicky. That cheapens the game.
No, I don't. I get it because you want to try to put like Shohei into the best situations, but like that would be like Draymond Green getting fouled late game, and you being like, nope, actually, we want Steph to take these free throws. We have our one guy who we can switch a game. We want Steph taking these 3 throws. They fouled Draymond. They fouled Draymond.
Yeah, right, yeah, but I fouled him. It also sounds like something an 8-year-old would have came up with. Like if I just asked any 8-year-old like what they think a good idea to improve a sport would be. Oh, a golden at bat where you get to choose your best player. That's what it sounds like. And the NBA just seems like they're not far off from that. Just starting with the playing game. Yeah, but again, you'll hear more complaints about the playing game from me in April, so don't worry about that.
I don't. Yeah, no, it's
Thursday game. It's what? It's Seahawks
and Bears and Chicago. Chicago is 3.5-point underdogs in this game. I'm actually going with Chicago 28-26. Both teams are not. I think are the Seahawks officially eliminated? I want to say
Seahawks are still in it.
Oh, are they still in it? Okay. I don't know why I mentally thought they were eliminated. No, the Cardinals got eliminated because they couldn't beat the Panthers. That's right.
Yeah, Cardinals.
The Cardinals are eliminated. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I'm going to still stick with it. Even though now that makes me want to change my prediction with it and put the Seahawks winning this game because obviously they need it. At some point, I think the Bears are going to have to win. Maybe. Like, I think that they're like, I don't think they're that terrible of a
Bears
roster.
are
I
ass.
just think they're what?
Bears are ass.
I don't think they're a terrible roster. I just think they're a terrible program.
They're a really good roster. They're a great roster. You give that to a living, breathing coach next year, they could be in the NFC Championship game. Truly.
No, like that's my point. I think that their roster, I think, is good enough to like not be a 10-game losing streak roster. So like I'm just by default, I think they can win this game.
Yeah.
Because Caleb's actually been playing well. He just hasn't been taking like a lot of chances, but he hasn't turned the ball over. I get why you're gonna probably go the Seahawks, and I can't even like hate on it. I can't even hate on it at all. But I got Bears 28-26.
Wow, the Bears are scoring. So my thing with this game is the only hang up is it's in Chicago, right?
Yep.
That's a tough place to play in December, assuming it's going to be very cold there. It's going to be a tough game for Geno Smith and the crew to win. Let me say this. We didn't do our shining star, but if we did our coaching game plan or the Madden manager, whatever it's called, if we did that, Keenan, it absolutely would have been two things. And it has to do with each of the teams in this game, actually. One would have been the Seahawks because I don't know if you saw this, Keenan. They lined up for a 60-yard field goal with about a minute plus, missed it, right? Mm-hmm. And then still, who were they playing yesterday? Why is it escaping me right now? Vikings they're playing.
Yes,
right?
yes.
They stopped the Vikings. They got the 3 and out, got the punt, but because they had it at midfield, they had terrible field position. And then they got a false start on their first play outside of that. Now you're starting at your 15. My point being here, if they didn't try the 60-yard field goal, then you're getting the Vikings anywhere from the 20 and behind, right? Mm-hmm. You can stop them 3 times. Then you're giving yourself a better chance. I thought that was a poor decision to go for a 60-yard field goal. There was 30 seconds left. Okay. Minute plus, and you got all 3 timeouts. There's no reason to try that. And he really wasn't even close. So I thought that was garbage. I like Mike McDonald as a coach. Did not love that call. Other one that I did not like yesterday, Keenan, and it's one of the best plays I've ever seen. Lions, Bears, right? Lions do the fake fumble where Goff acts like he trips. Gibbs acts like he's diving on the ball. And they throw it. They get a touchdown off it. Incredible execution by Goff and the Lions. Keenan, I'm mad. Why'd they waste that? They were up, I think, 2 scores on the Bears at that point, right? And they waste that incredible play that they could have saved for, I don't know, championship weekend, divisional round. And maybe they'll run it again, whatever. And someone made a good point when I said this on Twitter. I said, why would they waste that play there? Someone made a good point and said, well, if they do fumble, maybe the defense will be hesitant now because they're expecting a fake. That's also true. But why would you waste a play there that clearly you guys practiced to a T because they ran it to a T?
It looked great. Why would you us as New England, we've seen we were one for trick plays, but we would bring out the eligible receiver kind of thing when we were down. We would bring out the Edelman pass when we were down in situation.
Best plays for the postseason.
And then I understand there have been multiple times where I've seen Ben Johnson draw something up, and I'm like, wow, that's great. Why are we using it now? That was my first thought was that's crazy. Why are we using it now against
especially
the Bears?
That fumble one? I've never seen. There was an old play called the fumble Rooski, but what they pulled off yesterday, I've never seen anything like that where you're completely.
No, neither did I. And you need the certain personnel to do it. Gibbs really dove on the ground and made it look like there was a fumble there, and then Goff is already not the most athletic, so him stumbling over actually looked like the ball was lost. And then you just had Laporta leak. You know how that would have been really cool? Divisional round. You're down 17-14 against Philly, per se. I'm just naming a random situation. Or against Green Bay. Green Bay's in your building. Jordan Love just went down and scored a touchdown. It would have been really cool to see them do that and steal all the momentum in that building. Instead, you're doing it against. So cool. I guess. I mean, the first thing, because my friend at work, Matt Lawson, showed me that yesterday. And the first thing I said was, Ben Johnson's bag of tricks must be like
There must be
he
an
must
even
have
more
like
insane play
30
coming.
plays.
There must be an even more insane play coming. Maybe like
He must have 30 plays, or man, like I know one person was like, yeah, that's got to be an audition for his Bears tenure, like for him as a Bears coach, like just like little small, like it's like something, man. But golly,
man,
I don't know why we're wasting it.
I do got to give you a score. I'll save it for when me, you, and Tim eventually talk about head coaches and stuff. But
yeah,
I mean, I've never understood the whole because he's the best coordinator in the game right now. He's automatically got to be in line for a head coach. Like he could be the worst coach we've ever seen. But I'll save that topic for 2 weeks from now when we're definitely talking about the coaching carousel and all that. 17-16 Seahawks over the Bears in Chicago. Seahawks are going to have one last chance. We're going to get a wild week 18. I can't wait for the Sunday night game. We got Commanders and Falcons. We'll talk about that later in the week. We got some stuff for you. We got some stuff for you later in the week for sure.
Do you have any predictions for any of the Christmas Day games for the NBA? We got San Antonio versus New York. We've got the Timberwolves versus the Mavericks. We've got Philly and Boston. We've got Warriors, Lakers, and we've got Denver, Phoenix. Any predictions, anything that you want to think about in those games at all?
I think Knicks win their game. I think the Mavericks win their game. I think the Celtics beat the Sixers. I think the Warriors. This game's in LA, I'm assuming. Warriors at Lakers.
It's in Golden State.
It's in Golden State. Give me the Warriors in that game then. And then Nuggets win their game late. Actually, no. Yeah, Jamal Murray's playing better. I think Jokic goes off. in that game, which isn't saying much, but I've got more Jokic thoughts in the tuck for another day. We were obviously talking about the state of the league, but Jokic is a one of one right now. He's on his own level. Even though Giannis is playing out of his fucking head too. Like he's averaging what, like 30, 14, and 7 over the last few weeks or something like that.
Your two best players in the league. Sorry, Luka. Those are your two best players in the league.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard me say since Luka's come in this league, like, man, this league's too easy for him. Luka is a pure scorer. I thought Luka's 73 last year was one of the more impressive games I've ever seen in my life. As far as the stat line goes, as far as how we got it. I like James Harden more than I like Luka Doncic right now. And I bring up James Harden specifically because through James Harden's prime, I was a known hater of James Harden.
Yep.
I also preface that by saying, Keenan, you were around for it. I like James Harden on the Thunder. Probably even like his first 2 years on the Rockets. But once it was really like MVP Harden, once it was like flop Harden, yeah, he was hard to root for. And I like Clippers James Harden right now more than I like in his prime Luka Doncic. There is a lot of stuff I do not like about Luka. Still a great player. Still an all-time great player. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. He'd be in the Hall of Fame if he broke both of his legs and couldn't play in the NBA anymore. He would go in the Hall of Fame tomorrow. Whatever. But I do not enjoy him as much as I did probably before the playoff run last year. That's okay. I will save all Luka Doncic, all Nikola Jokic, all whatever NBA stars you want to talk about. I'll save that for another day, maybe even Thursday. Whatever day we reconvene, maybe you will hear more NBA than NFL. We got to talk about that, though, because Tim might be with us. We don't know what people's holiday schedule is yet. We'll talk about that. But, yeah, that's all I got right now. That's just a little teaser.
I think the Knicks will end up winning that game against the Spurs, even though I want to say the Spurs are going to win. I think the Spurs definitely can win. I think we're going to walk away. Knicks with the win. Wemby's going to be the star of the show.
Maybe Wemby dunks from the top of the key. I could see that happening.
He might. He's been playing since that random analyst said that he was tired. He looks tired. He's been literally a man possessed. Like he started off the season a little lax, and then so you were like, yeah, well, he played 72 games, and then he went over, and then he played in the Olympics, and then now he's playing here back again. He's looking a little tired, and since then, Wemby's averaging like 28 a game. But and then yeah, I got Dallas. There's a 0% chance Boston loses to Philly.
0% chance.
I don't know. I actually wait. Now, after what I saw Tyrese Maxey do, I have never mind. Not a 0% chance because of Tyrese Maxey. That's a 0 in faith in, and like cool for Boston's your feelings on Luka as me on Embiid. Embiid can't do it. Can't upsets me.
And I did say that. I did say that about a month or two ago that like Embiid would be my focus of hate, and he still kind of is, but I'm cooling it off on him just for a little bit.
Not fair.
Luka's up there too.
I got the Warriors. I do think they're going to sneak out a win against the Lakers. And then I got Phoenix because Phoenix lost to the Nuggets tonight. I think Phoenix is going to bounce.
That's right. They did play tonight. That's a good call.
But yeah.
Why would the NBA? I don't want to complain. Why would the NBA schedule the exact game that's going to be played? Doesn't matter because people apparently are not watching the NBA anyway. So why would it matter if they scheduled them 2 nights before the other game? Maybe it's not a bad thing. I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to be critical. I'm not going to be a hater. That was actually a genuine question that might have sounded condescending. I got to work on that. That's something I'm going to try to work on going into 2025 is to sound less condescending, and I don't need to. So,
all right. Well, we'll definitely be talking some music, some football, some basketball prior to the end of 2024, going into the beginning of 2025. We've got a lot obviously coming around the corner. We love to do our end of the year recap of a bunch of stuff, and we're going to hopefully have some friends along to talk about that with us. But this was the Warner Brothas Podcast with what?
SZA album. Did you hear it?
Yes, I've heard it. Very much like it. 30 for 30 went over Throw Some D's, so threw me off, but I loved it.
I do like what I've heard. I haven't listened to it in depth, but I like what I've heard.
I like it a lot.
Continue.
Like it a lot.
Not bad.
No, you're fine. I like it a lot. But yeah, you're definitely going to hear more SZA music stuff from Warner Brothas here too. We're going to be doing our annual end of the year show. Can't wait for that. Excited for it. Kyle, it was great to get back pod, and of course doing it just the original duo that we have been. Warner Brothas Podcast. This is Keenan and Kyle. Follow us Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all Warner Brothas Podcast. We appreciate all you guys, and we'll be seeing you guys very soon.